Hey everybody, it's Adele and
And Tiffany.
and we are back this week to do something real fun. I'm super excited about this. We're kicking off a 40-day challenge today, and I wanted at least 50 people to do this challenge, and I just checked and we have 51. Yeah, so I'm super excited, and I hope that we'll still get a few more people joining. It's not too late. If you have not read the book or started the book, or this is the first time you're hearing about this challenge, it's a-okay. You can still join, and you'll be totally up to speed once we're done this video. So the link to join the challenge will be below in the comments as well. All right. Well, let's talk about the 40-day challenge and my book, 40 Days, A Quest for Self-Improvement.
Yeah, absolutely. So first, what are we doing with this challenge? Kind of what can we expect to come out of this?
Yeah. Good vibes, a feeling of pride, self-confidence. I think when we do things that make us uncomfortable and stretch ourselves and are a little bit hard, then we get grit, we get self-confidence, we get pride in ourselves. And you want to make sure it's not too hard and overwhelming, right? But you don't want to be too soft and easy on yourself. Mm-hmm. And this is a really great challenge for people who tend to start something and quit. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what will we need in order to do this challenge?
You have to Goldilocks your challenge. So this is going to be one little behavior. Like, I recommend a new healthy habit that you're going to adopt every day for 40 days. Mm-hmm. And it's got to be tiny. Okay. People have a tendency, and I've done many challenges myself, to be too, what's the word? Too, like, you think too big. You take too big a bite out of it, and it ends up becoming daunting. So you want to choose a new tiny behavior that you can do for 40 days that you are 90% sure you can do. You don't want to make it too easy. If you're 100% sure, because you're already kind of doing it, maybe not just consistent every day, okay. But it should kind of thrill you and scare you a tiny bit. Mm-hmm. And make it so you're 90% sure you can do it. That would be awesome. My recommendation. Yeah.
So again, this challenge is specifically revolved around one source, and that is your book, 40 Days, A Guide for Our Quest for Self-Improvement. Can you tell us where they can find that? Because you guys will need that if you're doing this challenge, because it really breaks down everything behind the challenge.
And it's a fun read with lots of personal stories. It's not like some dry scientific kind of thing. I get into a little bit of the science behind habit creation and habit change. I also talk about why you want to start. It's better to start a new positive behavior than try to stop an existing bad behavior. That's much harder to do. I feel like when we have a bunch of good habits, we kind of push out the bad habits over time automatically. Because when we feel good, we want to do more things that feel good, But anyway, sorry, what was your question?
Where can anybody
watching? Oh, where can people get the book? Yeah, I'm such a bad marketer, really. You can get the book on Amazon. It's $5. I only have it available in Kindle now, and that's because the print won't be out for 4 to 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. So $5, you can read it on any device, laptop, tablet, phone. If you get the free Kindle reading app, you don't need to buy a Kindle. You can just get the app for free, and that lets you read it on any device. Mm-hmm. And then what's nice is the app's great because you can choose like larger fonts if you have a hard time reading it on a small screen, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so you mentioned that it's on Kindle. So a lot of people have this thing called Kindle Unlimited, which is a subscription to basically an online library of books. Is your book available for the Kindle Unlimited press?
Yeah, awesome. It's also, if you have a Kindle membership, it's free.
Yeah. So even better, hey.
Yeah. I would love some reviews. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm getting great feedback. I loved it. I'm like, so give me a review, please. I've had 2 reviews, and look, reviews are that social proof that it's worth your time to read a book. I know when I'm looking for books, I look at reviews. I go directly to the reviews. I look at the star rating. I look at the reviews. I want to know what people are saying. Is this worth my time and money? So if you enjoyed the book, I beg you, please leave a review, a sentence or two. You could talk about the challenge that you did. You could just talk about the book itself, maybe parts that you enjoyed. It doesn't have to be long, like a sentence or two. Honestly, I would so appreciate it. You know, authors struggle to promote books, and that is not my wheelhouse to promote my book. So your review would mean a lot.
I mean, it's not like you don't wear very, very, very many hats, you know, being a coach, running a
I'm
business.
not a marketer. It doesn't come naturally to me. Yeah.
So reviews are key. Speaking of reviews, for you guys that are actively watching, thank you for joining us live. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments. And then I would like to know, for the guys that are here right now and the ones that join us later, if you have read the book already, let us know in the habits. And again, the name of the book is 40 Days, A Quest for Self-Improvement. So let us know if you have already started reading that or completed it in the comments. So Adele, 40 days. Why did you choose 40 days specifically?
Yeah, good question. I talk about this in my book. Like, a lot of people, there's this belief that it takes 21 days to create a habit, and this is not true at all. In fact, there was some research done some years ago, like just how long does it take to create a habit? On average, it took people 66 days. But look, when we're talking about averages, we're always talking about a bell curve, and there's outliers. So a habit could take days, just a few days to create, right? If it's very, very simple and you're very motivated. And for some people, it can take years to do a more complex habit. So it all depends on the habit and you, really. So 66 days, 7 days, who cares? It takes as long as it takes. And look, our clients know that because they're working on habits in the Transformer program and the New You program. And this often happens. They go on vacation, they get ill, even though they loved working out, they got out of the habit of working out, and now it's harder to get back on track. This is completely normal. And so you might have created a habit that you love and enjoy, and it's gotten automatic, but then life derails you. And now it's no longer automatic, and you have to get back into that groove again. So that's really normal. So 40 days, I chose it. It's arbitrary. Okay. I chose it because 21 days seemed too short, and 60 felt a little bit long, and 40 just felt just right. Kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. You know, this porridge is too cold, this porridge is too hot, and this one is just right. 40 days felt like a little bit of a stretch, but not too much. And I like novelty and stimulation. It's just how I'm wired. So it felt like, okay, I could finish a 40-day challenge and then I could start a new one after that. And so I did that. I did a series of 40-day challenge experiments, and I write about them in the book. Like, they're all different types of challenges. And I'm just an open book about how those went. Some were successful, some weren't. One, I tried to learn how to sing. It was a terrible challenge, right? But then I had like a himsa, a kindness challenge. And I practiced ahimsa, and I talk about that. A yoga challenge, a fitness challenge, a weight loss challenge, like a bunch of different challenges. And some went great and some didn't. So I talk about why that is, and I break it down. And then there's also other people's challenges that are shared in the story. They share their story, and it's fun reading those. Like Christy did a 40 Days of Compliments challenge to strangers. And she found it really changed her vibe. Like, she became more positive. She actually started looking for the good in people every day, and in order to compliment them on something. And it shifted things. Some people took a 40-day social media break, or they limited their social media time to an hour a day. And they felt so much more energy and creativity as a result. And I would highly recommend that challenge, even if it means you're not going to be on this Facebook group as much. But it can be freeing to really take control of your time, and figure out where you actually want to put your energy, your mental energy into. Yeah, it's quite liberating.
I love that. Yeah, I think that even if you don't want to cut social media altogether, if you just set up a window of time where you allow yourself that social media time, maybe you want to connect with people, I think that that could really open up your door to how much time can potentially be wasted by social media as well.
It's unreal. And also these energy leaks, we're like buckets, right? And we have holes. And then by the end of the day, the bucket is empty. And one of the big energy leaks is social media and looking at some of the nasty comments, or you post something and you're thinking about what will people think of that. And just like it can really be an energy drain. When I did a 40-day break from social media, complete break, and it was my first challenge, I think, in the book. I felt such a huge amount of energy and creativity. And I went through 5 books in 40 days. Like I just read a lot, and it was so great for me. And I actually was reluctant to come back to social media, but it's like, I have a business to run. I got to get back to it, But
Awesome.
Christy did a 40-day social media challenge, which I think is just an hour a day. And it was marvelous for her.
I love that. So for you guys watching, I would love to know, have you picked a habit that you want to focus on yet? And if you have, put it in the comments. We're really hoping to connect with you guys a little bit more and help you find ways to implement the habits that you want to work on, because it's not always as easy as saying, I want to do X, Y, and Z. Well, you want to do it, but now how do I add that in? Where do I find the time? Where do I find the energy? Like there's all kinds of other things. So I think it's really great to share your habit and have a little bit of support with that habit.
Yeah, we'll give you feedback on that, how to Goldilocks it. So like people who have signed up for the challenge, I have already emailed you and said, have you started the book? Have you picked a challenge? And some people have emailed me back and they said, yeah, I'm going to do this and this. And I'm like, no. Well, first I didn't say that, because I'm a coach, right? I don't just shut the door. I'm like, well, would you like some feedback on that? And they're like, yeah, sure. Okay, well, let me give you an example. I won't name names, but somebody said, I'm going to have a no fried foods challenge. And what was the other thing she was going to do? Oh, it was like something completely different. And I said, just do one. Just do one. And then you could do the fried foods one after, if you like, for the second challenge, or just kind of work on the side and maybe not just say no fried foods, just limit them, because you're asking to make 2 behavior changes at the same time. And you really want to keep it very simple. Another person was going to do more cardio that day and also doing some push-ups or strength training. And I'm like, well, if you're already doing nothing and then you go to that, that's a big ask. And as you know, Tiffany, when people are trying to increase their fitness, you don't want to increase all, like your frequency, your intensity, and your duration all at once. Pick one. Like if you're running 3 days a week, don't now run 5 days a week for longer distances with more intensity.
Yeah.
No. Just like maybe 4 days a week, or just extend your current 3 days a week to like an extra 5 minutes of running, like very small incremental steps so you don't blow up. Because I talk about a challenge where I did that and I injured myself for weeks and it cost me so much money in physio. And it started off real easy. I'm going to do 1 air squat, 1 push up, 1 this, 1 that. Seems easy, right? Next day I'll do 2, then 3, but it reached a point where it's just unsustainable. And I ended up getting a repetitive stress injury and it cost me a lot of money and it was so painful. So really, like, keep it small.
Not only did it cost you money, but it also cost you valuable training time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whenever you think of everything else that it possibly impacted, it's more than money at that point, and it's more than pain. It's however it's restricting you throughout your life.
You don't want to bite off more than you can chew. And honestly, what we see in our clients is when they get excited about weight loss or a new training program, they are like full bore, full out. They want to do it all and they want results now. And it's not realistic. You have to look at what you're currently doing and like, okay, well, it's like a staircase, right? They want to jump to the top landing. And no, you got to go step by step by step, be patient, be humble, make sure that this is appropriate for your lifestyle and you and your energy needs and the demands on your life. You can't
Yeah.
jump to the top of the staircase.
Right.
You got to earn your stripes. And so slow your roll, keep it simple, keep it fairly easy to do, like minutes a day. What we want to see is consistency. Consistency, consistency, consistency. This is the number one thing. And this is why people struggle with adopting new healthy behaviors, because they're not consistent. We would rather you pick, like, for example, I'm going to meditate for 1 minute. That's it, every day. And you'll find that you'll naturally want to increase it, but it's the everyday. That's what you want. Consistency over intensity. Consistency is more important than intensity or duration or any of that.
Yeah. It's all about just getting started, really.
Getting started and then consistently doing it every day. And look, there's going to be, it's like workouts, right? We both work out at the gym. I call it the rule of thirds. A third of the time you're going to go to the gym and you're going to be like, that wasn't great. And then a third of the time you're going to be like, that was awesome. And, fist pump. And then a third of the time you're just going to be like, it felt kind of flat.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way it is. And when you do a challenge, it's going to be like that. You're going to be so excited in the beginning, and then the excitement will go away and you just keep showing up for yourself, because at the end of 40 days, you're going to be pumped that you did it, and you're going to be proud of yourself that you were consistent. And when you're doing that habit, you're building mental toughness, you're building resiliency, and you're building confidence and pride in yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I was definitely going to mention the confidence aspect, because just the feeling of empowerment that you'll get whenever you commit to something and see it through it's pretty amazing. So speaking of these challenges, and consistency, so what do you recommend to someone who has started this habit, but they're finding themselves struggling to do the habit daily without, or they're struggling to do the habit daily? What do you recommend that they do in that instance? They picked a goal, they thought that it was perfect for them, but now they're just having a hard time going every single day.
Well, you got to be honest with yourself here, because it might be that you didn't choose the right challenge, and you need to tweak it a little bit. Okay. And so you just got to make it smaller, or you need to abandon that and start a new challenge. But for most people, you just kind of got to pivot. So as an example, let's say you want to run every day, but you're not a runner. And you're thinking to yourself, well, if I run 5 minutes a day, that's easy. It actually may not be on your body. It might be too hard. And the ultimate goal is to become more fit, right? Cardio. You have to think, what is the ultimate goal at the heart of me choosing this challenge? To become more fit, or to build better cardio fitness. Okay. Well, if you can't sustain it, you're not going to build more cardio fitness. So maybe what you need to do is every day for 5 minutes a day, I'm going to do some form of cardio rather than running, because the variety will be better for your body. You won't have the repetitive injury impact. So then you maybe do 5 minutes on a rower, 5 minutes on an elliptical, 5 minutes of walking, 5 minutes of running, you 5 minutes of bike riding, 5 minutes of, like, you make it kind of fun. And then you're reaching your goals. So, I think you just need to tweak it a bit. And that's what we're here for in this next 40 days. If you are struggling, reach out. You're going to get a taste of what coaching is like with us, because that's what we do with our clients. We Goldilocks things so that they can be successful at a new behavior. It's not too much, it's not too little, it's just right for them.
So other than being not too right and not too little, just right for them, how do you think that people could start implementing these? Like, I think that we've talked about habit stacking before.
Right. Yeah. So you want to do a technique called anchoring. Anchoring was different people claim the anchoring technique for habit change, but Dr. BJ Fogg from Stanford University, he's part of the Human Behavior Design Lab. He heads it up. He wrote and contributed to a chapter in my book. And he says he's the one who started anchoring techniques. What it is you take an existing behavior that you already do, such as every day you brush your teeth, right? And you want to start a new behavior, you anchor it to that. So then you tell yourself, every day after I brush my teeth, I will meditate for a minute, 5 minutes, whatever it is. Or every day after I brush my teeth, maybe you want to learn how to braid your hair in different ways. I will spend 10 minutes trying a new hairstyle. Whatever it is, right? You want to figure out something that you already do every day that's pretty automatic, because that lets you stack the new habit on top of it. Otherwise, it can be hard to be like, oh, I got to fit in my workout still, and it's like 8:00 at night and I don't really feel like it. And my recommendation is you would ideally do it in the morning, so it's done and you started your day with a win, and that gives you lift off for the rest of the day. It really does set up your day for success. You feel good with a win.
I love that. So we kind of talked about some types of habits that people have worked on. Do you have any other examples of types of habits that people could possibly use? I love that you mentioned the braiding as well, because that's definitely something not health and nutrition really focused on. So it's kind of eye-opening for people to see that it doesn't have to be fitness related or food related. It's anything you want.
Yeah, I mean, that's a wellness thing to me. And we're all about nutrition and exercise and movement and wellness. And wellness is, stress relief, play, enjoyment, pleasure. And sometimes it's also doing things that you are procrastinating on and finally getting them done. So an example of that, another wellness one could be decluttering. We did a declutter challenge as a group when I did my 40 Daze book. And people loved that challenge. It was probably like the most popular challenge. People just felt like they were winning every day. And so if you're going to Goldilocks a declutter, because you might have a lot of clutter to deal with, you could start with a closet. You could start even smaller. Depending on your energy that day, you could just choose like the glove box in your car or your purse or the utensil drawer, getting the crumbs out, a crisper in your fridge. And move on from there. And when we did this challenge, it was so fun because we were discovering crap that we'd held on to for years. Like I had a melted comb. I took a picture of it. Like, why am I holding onto this comb that got melted? Into the garbage it goes. And we also gave away and donated clothes, and that made us feel good. And it was very purifying. And people love that challenge. So it can be a wellness challenge like that.
Love that.
I'm trying to think of like some other ones. I'd love to hear from people if they've written in the comments what their challenges.
Yes. So let's see here. So Maureen said she's not read the book. Jennifer Butler said she started reading it. Maureen says she's going to do the 40-day, 30-minute walk challenge. Awesome. Maureen, I have a challenge for you on that, because as we know, weather is unpredictable. So what are your plans on handling your walks on the days when it's storming? Because it's a daily challenge, right? So I want you to think outside of the box there a little bit. What do you think about that one, Adele?
I think that's a great question, because you have to plan for unforeseen circumstances, which sounds like impossible. It's a paradox, but you have to plan. Like the people who plan for getting derailed and how they're going to respond are the people who are the most successful at weight loss, at health, at fitness, at life, right? So it's a great question. And I guess my other concern when I heard 30 minutes, I was like, ooh. But Maureen, if you're already walking every day for 20 minutes, it's not a big stretch. But for somebody who wasn't in the habit of walking daily, I would say, oh man, make that a 5-minute. Make that, for example, here's how I would anchor it and phrase it. After dinner, I will walk around the block every day. That's it. You're only asking yourself for a little action item. Now, if you want to end up walking more, great. But what is your minimum that you're going to do? Like when we're talking about medicine, we talk about minimum effective dose. What is the minimum amount of medication a person needs to feel better? Well, it's kind of like that with the 40-day challenge or any new habit you create. What is the minimum effective dose for you to be successful? And then anything more is a bonus.
Yeah. So Maureen did respond. She said, I can walk at the gym.
Okay.
She already has a backup plan, so that's awesome.
Deal.
But we do have Eileen on here as well, who says, I'm going to walk daily with the dog. Again, same question.
I love
What are
it.
we going to do in those situations? I love that you're not putting a time limit on there. But I think, again, thinking about possible hardships that could come with that, and kind of seeing how can I plan for that. If it's a cold day and you live in a snowy environment, maybe you say, I'm going to bundle up and still walk for the dog. Maybe it's a 5-minute walk instead of a 20-minute walk. It's still working towards your daily habit goal or your daily challenge. If it's raining, again, maybe it's a 5-minute walk in the rain versus a very long one. Maybe you just do one lap around the block and you just wear your Gore-Tex,
And your doggy's going to love you for it. I love that. Now, what happens if doggy can't go with you?
Right. Maybe doggy
What
has
happens
a
then?
sore foot. Yeah. Hey,
Like,
it happens.
You still go. Yeah, you still go, right? Because at the heart of this challenge is the desire to get in more activity on a daily basis. So that depends on you, not the dog. The dog is just a bonus. It's kind of like when you say, I'm going to work out with a friend at the gym. You know that you're truly committed if your friend doesn't show up and you still go.
Yeah. So, other things. So Johanna said that her challenge is weighing her protein, grains, and starches. Awesome.
Okay.
Debbie said, can't decide if I should do something physical, fasting, or a longer term goal like getting my house ready to sell. Start with decluttering in an area, drawer at a time in the future.
I have some feedback about that.
Okay.
Okay. So first, Joe, I would recommend you ask yourself if this were easy because ultimately, what is the goal? The goal is to get in more protein. So if this were easy, what would that look like? Is it really weighing and tracking? If so, okay. But would it maybe be easier to go with a hand method? Like every meal, I'm going to have a palm size piece of protein. That will roughly get you to your goals. But because your hands are portable, they'll go with you anywhere you're on vacation. You don't always have a scale. So ask yourself, what is the easiest way for me to do this challenge? You want to make it convenient and easy. And for Debbie, here's my recommendation, if you don't mind me sharing. What does your heart want you to do? What have you been doing a lot of lately and not enough of? I'll give you an example. I've pivoted 3 times on deciding on what my 40-day challenge is going to be. The first one, I was going to meditate every day because I had fallen off and I was doing 8% of the time. And then I realized I'm actually getting even better at it. I don't feel like that's enough of a stretch for me. So we'll do something else. And I thought, okay, I'm going to update my book, The HCG Diet, Fact and Fiction, and get the print going for 40 days. I'll write every morning at 7 a.m., hopefully up to an hour, but I won't put a time constraint because whatever, 7 a.m. is when I'll write. I felt really good about that until this morning. When I was meditating, I realized the feeling in my body when I thought about it was just kind of, like that feeling when you don't want to do something, it manifests physically. And for me, it was like a contraction, a shrinking. And I realized it's not the right challenge because I already spend so much time on my laptop and doing my to-do list. And I feel so much responsibility in life. I feel like I need more of something else, right? So what do I need more of? I need more of the opposite. I need more movement. And so I decided I am going to every morning at 7:30 a.m. do some form of cardio, even if it's only 5 minutes. And so I have a home gym, fortunately. I can walk, I can do the rower, I can use the elliptical, I can be on the bike, but I can do 5 minutes of air squats and things like whatever, as long as it gets my heart rate up. I can go swimming, I can dance to something on YouTube because I like variety, but I'm doing at least 5 minutes of movement every morning. And that felt good. Like the energy shifted in my body and I felt excitement And I'm like, that's the one because I'm excited about it. And so that would be my advice. It should sort of excite you or scare you a little bit, but there should be some emotion. You shouldn't be shrinking and feeling, ugh, you know? So, and make it 90% doable.
I love that.
I hope that will help.
Johanna said she doesn't want to track in a tracker. She's finding that she has a hard time not selecting a big or large enough size piece of meat, fish, etc. It's hard since your self-talk is telling her that a piece of protein is too big. So I think that just comes back to just visualizing the palm of your hand. So if it fits within the palm, it's not too big.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, but you could start with, I guess. So Joe, the goal is to eat more protein, right? That's the goal. How you get there can be different methods. So you could start off with tracking until you get comfortable with what that looks like on a plate. And you're like, okay, that is hitting my protein goals. And then once you've got that visual, I mean, you could even take photos on your phone, have it on your plate, and now you know visually what the goal is, and then you can move away from the tracking to a palm size or plate method or something like that. We just want to make it easy on you. That's all.
Yeah. That's great. So let's see here.
I have some ideas for challenges if people need help.
Yeah, Joan said she's going to do a 40-day self-kindness affirmation journal.
Oh, I love it.
Eileen said that she has a treadmill, so poor puppy won't go on days when it might be bad out.
Good. Okay, so you're thinking of like what could happen if puppy can't come or you can't go outside. Perfect.
Yeah, love it. Maureen had to run. Bye, Maureen. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
And then so Joe said, I need a bigger serving size than a palm.
Okay.
And she said, good idea about the picture of her plate, though.
Okay, good. And of course, it depends on the protein source, right? Some sources have more macrograms than others. So if you read my book, you're going to get lots of ideas for challenges and how to do a challenge so you're set up for success. So please check out that book, 40 Days, A Quest for Self-Improvement by Adele Frizzell on Amazon. I'll give you some other ones here. Let's say you feel like I don't eat enough vegetables, my recommendation would be, for example, you could experiment with new recipes as part of your challenge. If you want more plants in your life, we do have a vegetarian recipe pack and a vegan recipe pack coming out next week, maybe even in a couple of days if I can get Sarah to push it out there. It's $15 and it has a lot of recipes that you can do to get more plants in your life. If you want more protein, we have a high protein recipe pack. You could get that. It's got 52 recipes that are smoothies, breakfast, lunch, dinner, includes a grocery list, meal plan. So you could get that. You could, if you want to learn how to track your macros for 40 days and get better at that, because we do use macro tracking in our coaching programs. Not all of them, but for most of them. Then you could get solid on tracking if you're considering working with us in the Transformer program in April, or our Informed Eating program, which starts off with tracking, but by week 7, you're no longer tracking. If you want to meditate, there's free apps out there. You can just get a meditation app to get you started. So I hope that gives you some ideas. And if you're still unsure, comment below. We can help you. We'll be monitoring the chat over a period of a week or so. Yeah. Anything you want to add, Tiffany?
Yeah, I think that habit tracking is key to long-term success, no matter what you're focusing on, because it helps develop, again, that self-loving discipline, and it helps to develop that confidence in yourself that whenever you set your mind to something, you'll be able to achieve it. I love that you mentioned that they could use the next 40 days to practice tracking macros, and that could look a little bit different every day, as long as you're focusing on practicing macros. Maybe one day it's very simple of, I'm going to familiarize myself with my preferred tracking tool. Maybe another day it is, I'm going to take time to see how to create custom entries So there's a lot that you could do with the 40 days of tracking your macros, because there's a lot to tracking macros. So that could be a good way to break it down and make it a little bit easier to understand. And then
we have that free 5-day challenge too in this Facebook group. You could do the 5-day challenge.
Yeah. Yep. So that would be a great place to do it. And then the next thing is, guys, as Adele said earlier, even if you don't do the challenge, review the book. Like it, love it, don't like it, why? Let us know. All feedback is welcome. Preferably the like it and the love it, but you know.
Yeah, I hope you love it. It's a fun read, and it's an easy read. And I would really appreciate a review on Amazon very much. So what are we going to be doing for this challenge, and how can we support you? I hope you'll sign up. And the first thing you got to do is go and register for the 40 Days challenge. We'll put the link in the comments. Got to get the book off of Amazon. You don't need to read it all at once. Just whittle away at it, but it'll help set you up for success. And we're going to be posting little excerpts from the book, which is like a little tip a day to help keep you on track. And if you need help with your challenge, we're only an email away. You can email me personally and I will respond. So it's like free coaching. All right.
Sounds good. Yeah. And we're going to have, if you have not registered for the challenge yet, it's not too late to do so. Today's the official launch date, but maybe you weren't able to watch this live. Maybe you don't watch it until tomorrow or the next day. You can still register for this challenge. There's no specific set start date. We just want you guys to get into the habit of practicing something new. So click on that link, join the challenge. It's not too late to join.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Tiffany. Thanks, everybody, for coming to this Facebook Live. We look forward to hearing all about your challenges.
Bye.
Bye-bye.